Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Classic Album Rewind, where we take a look at a classic album from a classic band that maybe perhaps is overshadowed by the big brother, big sister that came right before it, that is usually considered maybe their iconic album or one of their iconic albums. In this instance, we're going to take a look at a great record from November 29th, 1975, the day released. Recorded at A&M in Los Angeles, Rampart and Scorpio in London, England. For the A&M record produced by Ken Scott and the band, I am talking about Crisis. What Crisis? From Supertramp. All right. Of course, this follows what many consider their magnum opus, and quite frankly, one of the greatest albums of all time, Crime of the Century, from a year prior in 1974. So, when the band went to go put this album together, it's almost like they had used up so much of their material, so much of their energy on Crime of the Century. They actually came into the studio with really nothing and had to just kind of put stuff together. They had some leftover tracks from the Crime sessions. And at the time, most of the members of the band were not very high on this album. But it did pretty well. And over time, I think fans and the band have really softened up to this album and look at it as the kind of classic that it really is. Of course, at the time we had the the most memorable lineup of Supertramp: Rick Davies on lead and backing vocals, all sorts of different keyboards and things. Roger Hodgson, lead and backing vocals, guitars, keyboards, all sorts of other different types of instruments. He's definitely one of those kind of jack of all trades guys. John Anthony Helliwell on saxophones and clarinets and all sorts of woodwinds. Dougie Thompson on bass guitar, and then on drums you've got Bob Benberg, or Seidenberg as his real name actually is. Like I said, Ken Scott producing this particular one. So when you listen to this album, it's not exactly the kind of immediate drop-dead classic that is Crime of the Century. Crime of the Century, a really well-crafted album. I always look at Crime of the Century as on par with things like Dark Side of the Moon. All right, just a perfect album, start to finish, with so many layers. I think that Crisis, What Crisis, is maybe not of that magnitude, but the more you listen to this, and I think over the years, time has been very kind to this album, and I think that it reveals a lot of rewards the more you listen to it. I mean, it starts off with Easy Does It, which a great way to kind of break into the album. It's this lovely little Roger Hodgson vocal piece, acoustic guitars, right? The song is not very long, kind of blends right into the next track, which is Sister Moonshine, which is incredible song. You got Roger again on the vocals. You got these velvety, smooth 12-string acoustic guitars. A lot of 12-string guitars on this album. Haunting keyboards. Just a really terrific song. A great chorus. Definitely a upper echelon Supertramp song. From there, you got Ain't Nobody But Me. All right, so this was somewhat of a minor hit. You got Rick Davies on vocals on this one. This is a very kind of piano-driven, bluesy rocker. Really good sax from Mr. Helliwell. This is, and again, I guess on most Supertramp albums, but you can really tell the different songwriting styles and different kind of musical interest of both Roger and Rick. Because Rick tends to go for these more kind of piano-driven, kind of bluesier tracks, whereas Roger goes for these kind of multi-layered, not really coming from a blues place, not really sure where they're coming from. He's got this pop sensibility that works really well. He understands the textures and things of prog rock. So kind of a interesting meeting of these two guys in this band when both were in the group together that made for a lot of variety on the Supertramp albums. So following Ain't Nobody But Me, you've got Soapbox Opera, okay, which again has Mr. Hodgson on. Always interesting trying to say that name, Hodgson, Hodgson. Again on vocals, this is this quirky atmospheric number, synth and piano heavy. Another really memorable song, very majestic feel to it. Roger's songs generally have that kind of more of a quirky nature, I think. And then you got Another Man's Woman. Okay, we're now moving into the second half of this album. Rick on vocals, more of a rockin' song. It's one of the more, I wouldn't say it's heavy, but it's one of the more, hard rockin' songs on the album. But it's got, again, it's got a bluesy feel to it. You got the piano, the shimmering guitars, very memorable song. from this album, but again takes the direction of the band into more of a rock realm, right? From there, we've got, over on side 2, we got Lady. Again, another Roger song. Quirky, bouncy, playful melodies and rhythms. Really fun song. I love the big booming bass on this. Lots of keyboards, lots of sax. Again, the music of Supertramp always very rich with all these different instrumentations. So Lady's a really good one. Then you got Poor Boy. All right. Rick Davies again on the vocals here. Piano, bass, clarinet. More of a blues element. Not my favorite song on the album. Probably my least favorite. Exactly. To be quite truthful. I'm not a huge fan of Poor Boy. But it's okay. Then we've got Just a Normal Day. Great track. Haunting vocal from Rick Davies on this. You got that somber piano, kind of a bluesy edge. It's a really emotional song. You got Roger also sings a couple verses here as well. Nice sax solo. Really good song. And then for me, next to Sister Moonshine, probably the highlight piece on this is The Meaning. This is the album's, big prog rocker, because, the band did dabble in progressive rock quite a bit in their career, especially early on. You got Roger on lead vocals on The Meaning, layers of synths and sax and 12-string guitars. You got Dougie Thompson's big booming bass and Roger's kind of tasty, very melodic electric guitar stylings that are kind of littered throughout the song. Man, just what a great tune. And it's the longest track on the album. I think it's just under 7 minutes or something like that. And then the final piece is The Two of Us, drenched in organ, clarinet, acoustic guitars. You got Roger's emotional vocals. Just a really lovely piece to end the album. And interestingly enough, Easy Does It brings us in, and Two of Us takes us out. And both are kind of, shorter, dreamier, melodic, mellower pieces with all that kind of rich, varied material in between. So really, really cool album. Like I said, it's like, I think, at the time, it sold pretty well. Not the bigger seller that this was, and certainly not on par with Breakfast in America, which was their huge, huge album. But it's one of those albums that I think, if you go, you can go on the internet and read and see various ranking things, lists and all that kind of stuff. And Crisis What Crisis generally shows up in the if not in the top 3, and easily in the top 4 or 5 on most people's Supertramp list when they look at this particular album. And like I said, even though it was kind of hurriedly put together, and the band was having a problem getting ideas together at the time when they went into the studio, and they were grabbing from some older stuff they didn't use and putting together some quick new things. Over time, it really has worked. And I think that it's a very rewarding album with a lot of different flavors that was all about Supertramp. And I think it's definitely a classic. And I think it's definitely a great addition to the Classic Album Rewind show here, because, again, how many people, perhaps who are casual Supertramp fans may not have heard this whole album, because not a lot of big hits on this album, right? So if you've never listened to Crisis What Crisis, that is your homework for today. Go and please check this album out in its entirety. Report back, let us know what you think. If you are already a fan, maybe you haven't listened to it in a while, which is me. When I was getting ready to do this, I went and re-listened to this yesterday, and I was like, oh man, what a great album. Go back and hit that rewind button and play it all over again, and just kind of marvel in the majesty of another really, really strong release from a very magical band called Supertramp. And that is our Classic Album Rewind of the day. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. We've got more Classic Album Rewinds coming up for the remainder of the month, and we're going to bleed it into July a bit, because I'm quite frankly really digging this. I may not do the whole month of July, but at least the first week I'm probably, because I got some I haven't gotten to yet, and I think others that I've kind of noted that I'm like, that would make a good one there. I just love talking about a great album each and every morning, right? Kind of stimulates me to get ready for my day, right? So thanks for watching. We've got coming up here on the channel, the UK Connection. 2 guys that have been with me on the Sea of Tranquility webzine for a long time. Both have made numerous appearances here on the YouTube channel. I'm getting them both together. All right, Simon Bray and Stephen Reed are joining me momentarily to rank the albums of Survivor. So that is coming up. You do not want to miss that. I am stoked beyond belief to get Simon and Stephen on the same show together. Hopefully this will be first of many, so stay tuned for that. Also coming up on the channel, we've got Hudson Valley Squares tomorrow night, where we're going to be revisiting our favorite songs from 1976. Split Squad, of course, for the summer. We've got Tuesday in the Prague seat. We are going to be, and this is with Team A, we are going to be ranking our 5 favorite solo albums from members of the progressive rock, the Big Five, so the members of Yes, and Genesis and Floyd and Tull and so on and so forth. So that is coming up on Tuesday. Wednesday, of course, is New Product Review Day. What's Hot with Sea Tranquility. I've got some new releases from Cirith Ungol and Halloween and a few others. That's Wolfgang Van Halen's Mammoth. So that's coming up on Wednesday. Thursday, of course, is the Monsters Den. To remake or not to remake is the discussion point for Thursday's show. So join Rich Gattino, Chris Allo, and myself for that. And then Friday, of course, Martin Popov is back once again in the Funhouse with myself, where we're going to have a really fun conversation about albums that most people seem to dislike, but we really dig, right? So stuff that we like that everybody else seems to hate. Gonna try and find some of those in the collection. So and then of course it's the weekend once again. So thanks for watching, everybody. We got more Ranking the Album shows coming up as well over the next week or two, so stay tuned for that, and more rescheduling the Immortal Ranking the Album show with John McEntee. That should hopefully come next weekend, I think. Lynn Versace and I also have to reschedule the ABBA Top 10 Songs and the Steve Morse Band album ranking. So those are all going to happen. It's just a matter of finding that spot on the calendar for all of us. So thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Click on the subscribe button if you haven't already. Click on that notification bell so you get notified of all of our videos. If you want to make a channel donation, we've got the link to our Ko-Fi page below. We've got the link to our merch page as well. You can get all sorts of Sea of Tranquility t-shirts and fun stuff. And then, of course, the link to our webzine as well. 20 years on the internet with Sea of Tranquility. What a ride it's been. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you later on with Ranking the Albums of Survivor, as well as first thing tomorrow morning with another classic album rewind. Talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.